So let's start. So Suraj, why don't you introduce yourself and take us through your journey so far?
Sure. I'm Suraj. I'm currently working as a design engineer at Eaton India Innovation Center in Pune. I was born and brought up in Kerala in a family of doctors. Then I went on to pursue my interest in maths and engineering, and I went on to do my mechanical engineering from NIT Calicut. Following which, I went to pursue my master's in mechanical engineering from IIT Madras. So I was placed in my current company Eaton from IIT, and so that is about myself. And I am working as a design engineer in Eaton, so I am in the Valtrin team, which is again a design related job. So that is about myself. And talking about me, I'm basically a positive person who, and I like to challenge myself and try to do my best in whatever.
Great, great, nice. Uh, you have done your graduation and postgrad in mechanical engineering, and then you are working in a firm that basically deals with the designing and innovation. So I mean, you are pretty much on the field where your background study was, and I mean, you are doing pretty good job. Then suddenly, why you decided to switch your career to analytics?
All right. I went on to do my master's basically as a continuation, as a natural extension of my bachelor's, and I was very much interested in mechanical engineering at that point of time. Then later on, when I went into Eaton, where I am currently working, so that is where I picked up an interest in analytics. So even though I was not able, so Eaton basically has a data science team which is working on analytics related stuff, which is related to what Eaton is also working on. So even though I was not able to staff myself on these projects, I tried to keep myself updated with whatever projects they were that was happening there, and that is why I got interested in analytics. So yeah, that was one reason. And second reason is, so if I look around myself, I see a lot of my peers who are essentially from the same background as I am. As in, they might have a bachelor's or a master's in mechanical, and that is about it. So I would like to differentiate myself with a a different skill set, like in data science and analytics. So that is why I'm interested in doing analytics.
So it may so happen that you, after doing PGDBA, so you'll end up in a working in a consulting firm where the entire mechanical engineering study that you have done for almost 5 6 years, that will be not in use, or you will do something entirely something different, because analytics is nowadays used everywhere, almost in every aspect of business. So uh, I mean, the 6 years of your dedicated academic rigor that you have put in, that might not, you might not able to use that in your future career. So then it will be entirely shift of domain as well as shift of your preferences perhaps. So have you thought about that, and what is your thought on that?
I have thought about that. So even right now when I'm doing my work here, I am finding out a little bit of time on the side to study statistics, etc. So similarly, what I plan to do later on is not lose touch with if I'm working in a domain which is not related to mechanical engineering at all, I would always try to keep in touch with my current domain and try to somehow link analytics and mechanical engineering, so that the expertise in both fields, so that I will try to carve a niche area for myself to work with.
Okay, so you want to be in analytics as well as in mechanical engineering, or perhaps the research or development or new initiatives that can be taken using analytics in the
And
area of
yes, mechanical.
mechanical engineering. Is that
Yeah,
is that
I will try to carve out a niche like that. I mean, I will not lose my contact with mechanical engineering completely.
got it, got it. Okay. So I have went through your CV. So you have mentioned a couple of projects that you have done in Aton India Innovation Center. So one of the project was on engine brake design,
Yes,
right? So you have worked on that. So
yes.
so my question to you would be, define the exact problem statement that was the business was facing. What
Okay.
was your approach to solve that problem, or you or your team, and
Yes.
what is the final output? that you have delivered. So these three, in a consecutive manner, you can structure your thoughts, or and then articulate your thought and just answer that.
Understand. So just to give a little bit of context, so engine braking as a technology is basically like, as we know, an engine in an automobile, it is a power producing device. So what engine braking does is we convert the engine from a power producing device into a power absorbing device, so that we can we can brake the car, we can reduce the speed of the car using the engine without using our normal service brakes, normal brakes that we use, the brake pedals that we use. Without using them, we will try to stop the vehicle. So the use of engine braking is for like big commercial vehicles, which has like 14, 20 tons of load. When we use the brakes, when we use the brake pedal, our brakes, the life will reduce a lot. So that is why we go for engine braking, so that we can prolong the life of our service brakes. So the customer that we have is a Japanese customer. So they already had an engine braking system installed in their engine, but it was not giving the required braking power that they needed. So basically, it's like it was not braking the car within a particular distance or within a particular time. So it was taking more time to brake the car, break the truck itself. So that is what the problem statement was, to try and design and develop an engine braking system which will provide a better braking power and which was more reliable and more durable than their existing system. That was the problem statement. So what as a team, what we did is we tried to first analyze what is the existing system that they have, what are the pain points, what are the exact pain points that the customer has, and then we designed a system by ourselves, which, keeping in mind the pain points that the customer has, we designed a system by ourselves which will take care of all those pain points and convert them into delighters for the customer. So right now, the system that we have developed was, before this lockdown, it was in testing, and it was performing well. It was giving much higher brake power than what the earlier system used to give. And we are planning to give the protos to the customer so that they can test it at their end in July. We were planning to do it then in July, but because of the lockdown, it will get shifted to September or so. So that is how our solution methodology works.
Okay, so I understood the problem statement. Now, what are the steps, or what is the solution that you or your team developed? So you said that you have conceptualized and developed a decompression framework or
Yes.
brake mechanism. So what is that framework that you have developed?
Uh, so So do you want me to explain the technicality or?
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. So you can take 3-4 minutes perhaps, and you can explain the technically.
Sure. So usually, so this engine brake system is actually, it's a variable valve actuation. Like in our normal engine cylinders, we have an exhaust valve and intake valve. So the engine brake system, what it does is it changes the normal functioning of the valves. Like for example, if one valve is opening in the normal case, if one valve is opening at say time t equal to 0, we want, in case of engine braking, we won't open it at time t equal to 0. We will open it at some other time, so that the performance of the engine itself is changed, so that like the air and fuel will flow out or come in according to how we change the timing of these valves. So that is how engine braking works. We basically change the timing of this intake and exhaust valves. So now, for this particular, for their earlier design, it had a lot of issues with respect to durability. Like even during engine braking, the valve system sees a lot of forces, loads, which is of the order of like 10 kilonewtons or so. And their existing engine braking system was not able to withstand that kind of load. It was breaking, even like breaking in the sense it was getting destroyed in like 50 or 60 hours of working in the field. So what we try to do is we try to uh, find out a system, we try to design a system which will sit within the given space, and uh, and it will also take up these loads without failing, or it will be very durable system. And the second challenge that we had faced was the size of the engine was very compact. So this customer's engine was a very compact engine, and we did not have much space. So whatever design we had to do, we had to put it in that particular space. So we designed a system which will be fitting inside the available space. I mean, there was a little bit of interference with the surrounding systems, but when we talked to the customer, they said it's fine. They will change their design accordingly so that it will accommodate our system as well. Then the third issue was, like I told you, so the durability needs to be improved. So when the durability needs to be improved, we need to improve the grade of material that we are using. So earlier, if it was using, say, like a normal carbon alloy, now we have to use an alloy steel. I'm just giving an example, and with different hardnesses. So what will happen is, what will be affected will be the cost of the system, because when we go for higher grade materials, obviously the machining will require more cost, the tooling will require more cost, the procurement will require more cost. So all these costs will also be affected, and so we have to keep the cost also in mind when we design the system. So
So you have optimized, all these variables in a way that you have developed a framework where this entire thing, I mean, what is the end objective? Objective was to, optimize all each of these parameters.
yes, optimize, basically design a compression engine brake system which will sit inside the particular space that is available, and it will not have a huge cost. So right now our design has optimized the first objective. I mean, it is taking up the loads and it is working for a long duration, but the cost, our program management team is still working on the cost.
Okay, okay, fine, good, understand. So since you have worked on this automobile industry, so if you might have heard about regenerative braking,
Regenerative, yes.
right? So
Yeah.
where the energy is recovered during the brake. So when you push the brake, so obviously the momentum that is decreased. It normally through brakes it disappears as heat, but you
Yes.
can convert that heat into energy, and you can store it, or you can immediately use that as well. So that
Yes.
is the concept of regenerative braking.
Yes.
Now taking cue from your current project, so imagine we want to use a hybrid machine or a hybrid engine where we want to use a regenerative braking. Now
Okay.
if there's a hard brake, or you push the brake pedal hard, so obviously uh, the more heat will be generated,
Yes.
right? So that means the heat recovery will be more, or so called the car will stop uh, in a very less time,
Less amount of
less
time.
amount of time, and in less distance. So you
Yes.
can obviously regenerate higher fraction of energy from that, vis-a-vis if you just have a lesser responsive brake,
True.
right? And then there is a corresponding energy loss function as well, where
Yes.
the way the energy is lost and what
True.
fraction you can recover. So given that you have all these three major attributes in place, now my question would be, what sort of variables would you think, from the domain knowledge as well as from your designing perspective, what are the variables do you think you will use to optimize such a braking method? While
Regenerative braking method.
Yeah, so while optimizing, my first condition would be I should optimize the energy efficiency. That means I should recover the most amount of energy.
Yes.
Second, the braking performance has to be at par with the current performance. Otherwise, if there is a decrease, then there will be corresponding customer dissatisfaction. I cannot do that. And
Yes.
last, on the overall performance and the durability of the car, it should be at least match the current trend. So if a
Understood.
brake, normally have a lifetime of 2.5 years, so it should sustain that much of time. So
Yes.
how do you, you know, solve, or at least approach this problem from a analytical approach? So you
Correct.
can take
So,
your time, so a couple of minutes or so, or
yeah,
structure your
sure.
thoughts, and you can answer.
Sure. So I have a few thoughts. So
Yeah, please.
so the first one is, so now what is happening is when we brake the car, the brakes on our wheels, that will be taking up a lot of heat energy, and right now, as you rightly said, it is being expelled in the atmosphere without conversion into useful work. So what we should do is we should design the brakes more efficiently. So brakes will have a brake shoe and a brake lining. All those have to be more energy efficient. I mean, they should be able to transmit whatever heat is generated. It has to be transmitted quickly into an energy storage device rather than simply emitting into the atmosphere. So we probably will need to use a better material with higher thermal conductivity there. So so and it also needs to be stronger also, because the amount of heat that is generated is much higher. So that is one thing, like the material that is used for these brake linings and brake shoe and all those things. And the second thing is basically like an energy storage system should be there, correct? Because obviously we will want to store the energy and then later on use it. So maybe we will need a generator kind of device or motor kind of device, which will basically convert this heat energy into electrical energy and store it in a capacitor or something like that sort, and so that it can be released later on. So, and even during this, basically our heat is flowing. So when the heat is flowing, we have to reduce the losses from the heat. So like when we take the case of convection and radiation, to prevent the loss due to radiation, we can have a vacuum around the channel through which the heat is flowing, and to reduce the effect due to conduction, we can have a less thermally conductive material. So all those things. So basically that is how we design energy flowing system. And then to have so that is how we reduce the if heat loss during its flow. And then
Okay.
after this, so now we have energy stored in a particular system. Now what is happening is we need to release this energy. Now when you release this energy, we cannot simply release it at once, the entire energy. So what we need is a controlled release of energy at particular time intervals. So that for that we will have to optimize our electronic control unit of the car, which is basically the CPU of the car. So the ECU has to be programmed such that it has to, so based on, say, the speed of the engine, or the, like if it is cruising on the highway or if it is going down a slope, so your gear changes, your speed changes, all those things changes. So based on a combination of those parameters, the ECU has to be coded such that when this particular scenario happens, this much amount of energy has to be released into the engine. So the ECU has to be coded like that. And another thing that we can do is so if the car is equipped with a turbocharger or compressor, we can also change the turbocharger and compressor parameters, like the efficiency of the shaft, of the turbo shaft, or the vane opening, or all that stuff we can change. So again, that has to be controlled by the ECU. But we can, as a mechanical designer, we can change the turbo parameters also to get maximum out of this particular system.
Okay, so finally, you're saying there will be some intrinsic variables that is on the design of the car itself. There will
Yes.
be some new or R&D needs to be done to develop new materials for the braking system. Uh,
Yes.
so
And also the
final,
ECU also needs to be programmed.
right. So these three, combination of parameters, how they will map to the three, areas that we are trying to optimize.
Yes. So for example, if you take the material change, so the material will, maybe not just the material will have an impact on the cost, obviously. And when you, so that is there, then the amount of heat loss that you are experiencing. So the lesser heat you lose, the more amount of energy you can store, and the more amount of energy you can pump into the engine. So
Right. Yeah.
that is one parameter. And then the second one was the cost. So the cost will also be affected with the kind of R&D that we do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Got it. So we have Shubham with us now. So Shubham, um, are we audible?
Yeah. Hi,
Okay.
Suraj. This is Shubham.
I should.
Hi, Sujam. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
So Suraj, so let's start with. So I wanted to ask this. So like what is your motivation to do PGDB, as in you're doing pretty well at your like workplace?
Yeah.
So just wanted to know your motivation around that.
So the primary reason why I'm doing PGDBA is so like I was talking to Madhur earlier, I picked up my interest in analytics while I was working in Eaton. So I had so in Eaton we have a data science and analytics team, which basically works on systems related to analytics and statistics. So I was not able to staff myself in any of those projects because of my current workload, but I was trying to keep in contact with them. Like what all are the updates that they have in their projects. And when I tried to get involved more regarding their projects, like when I tried to research by myself, that is when I understood that I don't possess the necessary skill set for doing that kind of work. And that is why I wanted to have a much more formal training in the area of statistics and analytics. And that is why I wanted to do PGDBA. So that is one reason. And the second reason, like I was telling Madhu, was to differentiate myself from my peers. So whenever I look around, all my peers have more or less the same background. They have either a bachelor's or a master's in mechanical engineering, and that's it. So I would like to develop a better skill set, like in data science, and that is one of the reasons why I want to do PhD.
Okay, but it's like basically, so first point is valid, but second point is your competition only your batchmates. I mean, because if you do PGDB, then also you will have a similar set of people who will have always same profile.
Yeah, so that is what. So but unlike the people who I would have an experience in mechanical engineering industry and in the analytics industry, so that later on, I'm not going to lose contact with my current domain, mechanical engineering. I can try and link mechanical engineering and analytics in some way or the other, and try and carve out a niche area for myself to work with. So that is why I differentiate
Okay,
myself
okay.
from the people who do PCDP.
So, Suraj, just to add on Shubham's question, so
Yeah.
you are working currently and you're doing some pretty cool stuff. Now, I mean, while working, you can parallelly parallelly learn analytics. So there are hundreds of courses available today across India. There are online courses available from all the top universities as well. So you can do that. So now quitting your job, doing full time 2 years rigorous course like PGDBA itself is a tough decision. So
Yeah.
if you like your mechanical engineering and you want to have analytics as a add an extra advantage to the mechanical engineering background you have, you could have done it in some through other courses as well. So
Yeah.
why PGDBA?
So the other courses that you might be talking about are like online courses like we have in Coursera or edX or something. So those courses need a lot of what do you say, investment in terms of time. So like for example, what I'm trying to say is when I'm working, at the end of the day, I have very less time to invest for other stuff. Like for example, I come at 8 o'clock in the evening and I don't have time to invest in other stuff. So if I have a formal education like in PGDBA, then it will be much more valuable for me. The second thing is PGDBA is a course that is offered by the top three institutes in the country, and I get to work with a lot of like-minded individuals as well. So which I don't think will be offered by many of the other courses. So and PGDB in itself is, like I said, it's offered by the top tier one colleges of India, and it's the best, obviously the best course in India. So that is the reason why I wanted to PGDB.
Okay, but it might so happen that during final placements you might not get a job in your preferred domain. So you might end up in some other domain as well. So is that fine with you? Because you said that you want to add analytics as an extra advantage to your mechanical engineering background you have.
Yes. So yeah, that is what I was saying earlier. Like there is obviously a chance that I will be placed in a different domain. But there are a lot of ways in which I can keep in touch with mechanical engineering and recent advances in the domain. Like for example, I have a subscription to a lot of journals, and that was obviously my first passion. So obviously, I'm not going to lose contact with mechanical. I will try and keep myself updated in mechanical, and some way I will try to link mechanical and analytics to.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So, Suraj, so you have done a course in Python, right?
Yeah.
So how would you rate yourself on Python on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being good, like great, and 1 being not so great?
I would rate myself as one right now because the course I did was a little bit long back, and I haven't brushed up my
Okay.
skills lately. And I don't have much experience in coding in Python. So,
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Uh, so then tell us, as in, if not mechanical industry, which other industry would you like want to go after PGDB? Like, where do you see yourself after 5 years of PGDB?
um, so so in 5 years of time, so I'm not looking for one particular industry. So like I said, I have interacted with a lot of people, like a couple of my friends. Then there was a senior from who did PGDB already. Then a couple of my seniors also from IIT also. So I talked to them, and what I understood from them is data science is applicable in a lot of fields. So what I would like to do in the 5 years after I do PGDBC is to have a taste of what exactly each industry offers. I would like to work across multiple industries and just have a taste of what each industry offers, and just try to understand or just try to identify one particular industry which I would like to work in. And then, so in say in 5 years time, I would like to lead and manage a team of like talented data science individuals as well, on working on projects relevant to the world.
Okay. Anything else do you want to add here?
No, that, yeah,
Okay.
that's.
Yeah. Okay. So one last question from my side. So what are your hobbies? Any?
So I watch football. So okay, that is one other
Okay.
reason I was interested in analytics, because the statistics of each player and how they analyze each particular game, all that thing was. I mean, that was also very nice. I mean, that was a very cool way of using analytics, if you ask me. So that was another reason why I found analytics interesting. So I watch football, then I play the piano as well.
Okay. That's nice. Can you think of any application of analytics in like in piano industry, something of that sort? Like I'm not aware of that. Can you think out
Uh,
of the box?
sure, sure. So this is something actually I read. So usually when we see like DJs or if you closely notice the basic beat of the music that is produced by major music companies, like most of the music albums that they produce, the basic beat is almost the same. So that is because through data analysis they have identified which is the beat that corresponds, or that what do you say, which resonates most with the listeners, and which beat, using which beat will they get the more what do you say, people who will listen. So most of the music producers, like big music producers, they ask the artists to try and use this particular beat to generate their music, so that they will get maximum number of listeners. So that was one
That's
application
cool.
that I.
That's good. Yeah, Sujan, like I'm done from my side.
Yeah. Okay, Suraj. So this is from our side. So now it's time to give some recommendations that we feel. Uh,
Sure.
so again, it's a constructive feedback. So I mean, since we are having a mock interview, so it's for your betterment only. So
Sure.
uh, so we'll start with the introduction. Your introduction was good. Definitely, it was having a structure, but you missed couple of points. So obviously, one was your passion. So analytics or PGDPA, somebody when they are wanted to do, they have to have some passion for something. So your passion was, if your passion was mechanical engineering, it is absolutely fine. But you have to have a passion for that, whatever you are doing. So for that, I have asked you couple of questions, and then you told me. So you should include that while introductions. Then your hobby and some a little bit of your current work that you are doing, your current position where you are. So these
Okay.
two things you can include. Then it will be much more elaborate and perfect. So
Understood.
these three things. Uh,
Sure.
Second, on the project and while I've explained you, I've asked you for explaining one of the projects. So it was solely for the purpose of checking that how you have constructed your thoughts. So you have written something in your CV, or some jargons in your CV, but what that means to you when you are explaining that.
Understood.
So that is the whole purpose of that question. You have explained it properly, but structure your answer in a way that you can cover that in 5 minutes, or
Sure.
max to max 6 to 7 minutes. So and in that you need to cover everything. So if you,
Understood.
so for your answer, I can tell you the first 4 minutes were the background. So what is engine and how
Integrated.
it fails, and so you can shorten that as well a bit, and emphasis on the body of work that you have done. So
Understood.
because then the interviewer can understand the structured thought that you have went through during that project as well. So that is one. The last question regarding regenerative braking, that was again a case, case study sort of a question. There, so personally, if you ask me, I like to have a uh, approach where you will include a data driven analysis. So obviously, a data driven analysis perhaps not always possible all the time. You have answered it, oh, I'm perfectly, because the optimization, three optimizations that I've asked you, so those optimizations were there in your voices. So the way you have spoken, so I have understood that yes, you want to optimize the braking performance, you have to optimize the energy storage, and you have to optimize the cost. So
Yes.
these three, but if you can explain it in a lucid language, and you, then it reciprocates well.
So what you're saying is I explained it in a design perspective, but it should have been more on kind of a data perspective.
Data means, so I've asked you, what are the kind of variables that you will use,
Understood. Understood.
and what are the areas that you will optimize for. So, I mean, my problem was from a business perspective, and so as an analytics professional, or a professional who will be using data day in and day out, so you have to convert it into a some sort of a optimization or a mathematical sort of an approach.
Understood.
There is no right or wrong answer. Nobody knows, but the approach has to be there.
Understood. Got it.
Okay. And so last observation is couple, maybe perhaps one answer was a contradictory answer. So you told that you want to stay in mechanical engineering, and you want to leverage your career with analytics and create a niche for yourself. But when Shubham asked you that, where you want to see yourself after 5 years, you told that you want to, check each and every industry, have a taste of that, and then you will manage some people, data science, data scientists. So that doesn't go with the first answer that you have given. So try to make sure that you don't give contradictory answers too much, because in
Understood.
then it easily people can understand that whatever you are telling, maybe uh, either you are trying to fake it, or you are just telling something that is not in your mind.
Understood.
So broadly, these three are my observations. But yeah, it was a good interview. So overall, whatever you have done so far, in terms of your academics as well as in terms of your projects, you have clarified that, and that whatever was written in your CV, you have actually explained that. So that's a positive thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, over to Shubham.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sujan. So, Suraj, like I was there only in the half part of the interview. So, when you were mentioning about two reasons that why do you want to join PGDBA, what was your motivation? So, the second point, more or less, narrowed down to networking. That you told that you already have, you will remain in contact with these. So, do not twist and turn that answer if you want to really focus on networking. It can be a very straightforward answer. In case if you wish to bring that up. Okay, so that is something that can be taken care of. Then, so the question, where do you see yourself 5 years, needs to be more structured. As in, yes, the question was which all industries do you want to see, but then you should also bring up the points that what you might be doing in an organization. You would want to lead some teams, or you would want to move into a role where you are basically managing the teams, or you still want to get into the basically very in depth of the work that you are doing. So what exactly? And plus, in these 5 years answer, always try to bring in some hobbies wala part also. That what you will do for yourself, because everyone does work, something extra should also be done. Now, when it came to hobbies, so when you told football, it was a good thing that you immediately related analytics with it, because I would have asked the next question that only, that can you think of this? But rather it's good that either in 5 years plan you bring this hobbies of your also, that in football you want to do something or you want to explore, or so your body language says a lot. So when you talked about football, it really showed that you're actually passionate about it, or you are really interested about it. So even an interviewer will see that. So try to bring that in other answers also, because people do like if you have hobbies that are quite separate from the rest of the crowd. And this piano thing was a good thing. You should try to bring this up. It will entice their interest. And the last thing was what the Python course. So do not put anything in your profile which you're not very confident about, because it might add to your negative points. Rest, I guess, your flow is good. I mean, you do not get stuck. You understand the question. It just try to come to point two thoda sa quickly, matlab.
Sure.
Thoda sa just try structuring. Rest, I guess, you should be good to go.
I have a small doubt. So while preparing in statistics, so like you might know, I don't have any experience regarding analytics or statistics. So from an interview perspective, like how much do I need to prepare? For example, do I need to know depth of logistic regression, linear regression, hypothesis? I mean, is there a limit to what I need to prepare or something like that? For a person
I
with
guess
no
you can.
relation with analytics.
So if you're talking about regression, you can look about the basic things, have a look at the assumptions, what is the equation. Not exactly how the mathematical equations are being derivations and all you can ignore, but you should know at least the intuitive meaning of it. What is regression? What is the difference between linear regression and logistic regression? That it is done for categorical. So what is the at least intuition behind it? And if you are not sure about a thing, it's better not to say about it.
Okay.
Hypothesis testing, I guess you can read. It's quite easy also, and it's quite helpful.
Right. Also, Suraj, so since you are not from a hardcore analytics background, so perhaps your work takes is not on analytics. So I mean, there might be not a very technical sort of questions or in-depth questions regarding analytics, but yeah, for basic statistics, you must focus on. For models like or algorithms, so logistic regression or linear regression, you must know that where one uses a logistic regression and where somebody uses a linear regression or things like that. But detailed mathematical deductions might not be required.
Sure. Got it.
But do brush up your basic statistics.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that is essential. And yeah, obviously you have a good CV and impressive academic background as well. So I mean, you have a very good chance. So just brush up these basic things, and you're fine.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Suraj. All the best then.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is, I think, the last rounds of interview. So best of luck, and we are eager to see you in PGDBA.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the best, Suraj.
All the best.